Okay, so I came across an odd tweet today. I'll go ahead and read it to you. This is from Cobra Info. Therefore, you might take the story about sealed indictments with a grain of salt. Link. The plan will not be popularized on the internet. Everybody will be taken by surprise. So I go ahead and link through, and I'm taken to this article by someone named W. Murthon. The author of this post goes through tweet history to determine when individuals first started talking about the sealed indictments. It was determined that this was started on November the 4th. Go ahead and advanced search sealed indictments. We'll input search range October 2nd, 2017 to November 6, 2017. In that time frame, on November 4th and November 5th, there are numerous postings by individuals of specific indictments found in the District of Columbia. I'll go ahead and scroll down the page. Notice how so far all of these dates are for November the 4th. If you keep scrolling, you see some for November the 2nd as well as the 1st. But on November the 4th, you have the conservative Twitter users, including Tracy Beans, who comes out with this intriguing finding of sealed cases in Washington, D.C. So, the discussion surrounding these cases takes us to our article. The author of this article, W. Murthon, contends that there is confusion around what is considered an indictment versus a case. The confusion heavily relies on this particular issue with the search criteria on the Pacer search website. From the very beginning of the sealed indictment phenomena that increased from 2 all the way to over 170,000, we've had some issues related to search criteria. Initially, there was case type CR for criminal. You see the date range, and you get the results. Later that day, it was determined that there were 12 sealed indictments, or to be honest, sealed cases. The difference in search criteria was case types was changed to all from CR. Date range was extended backwards in time to the 28th. These changes in search criteria were initially ignored, and quite a bit of excitement was spurned with the notion that sealed indictment numbers would continue to increase, and indeed they did. So I'm going to put it all in a nutshell for you, but you will have to do your own research and read this article in its entirety. So within the article, there's a link to FJC report. It's a study titled Sealed Cases in Federal Courts, dated October 23, 2009. The most relevant part of this discussion can be found, coincidentally enough, on page 17. It's titled Sealed Criminal Cases. We found 1,077 sealed criminal cases among 66,458 criminal cases filed in 2006. We classified the cases according to the predominant reason for their sealing. So of these cases, 284 were sealed indictments. So let's again pay attention to the relevant numbers. 66,458 criminal cases. Of those criminal cases, a very small number, only 1,077, were sealed criminal cases. Of those sealed criminal cases, a smaller number, 284, were sealed indictments. The author of this article notes the original Q research team that compiled the list of sealed indictments. She notes them, or he notes them by their Twitter handle. In the second article, the author basically pastes a page from the Q research team. Here are the names of the members. This particular page shows sealed indictments from October 30th, 2017 through August 31st, 2018. It's noted at the bottom of the document. How many are normal? 1,077 in all of 2006 per 2009 report. It then links to an article, which I just showed you is this 36-page research report. This number implies that it's in reference to sealed indictments, as that is how this particular page is titled, Sealed Indictments. But as I just shown you, of 1,077 sealed criminal cases, only 284 were sealed indictments. The number of sealed cases versus sealed indictments is an important distinction to make, and here's why. Quoting from QPost dated December 19, 2018, but interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are so many FBI and DOJ senior officials being fired and or removed from their respective positions of power? Who is AG? Who must sign off each removal? DOJ in charge of FBI? But interestingly, if nothing is being done behind the scenes, why are there 50,000 plus sealed indictments across the US? What percentage equals US versus X? Coincidence versus Huber start? So here in very plain and clear language, Q is indicating that the 50,000 indictments is an indication that things are being done behind the scenes. But referencing the Q research team's page about the number of sealed indictments considered normal during a 1-year period, 1,077, we already know that that number references cases and not true sealed indictments. So this brings into question the Q research team's methodology, and then further casts questions on Q's specific justification of things occurring. Again, Cobra Info said, therefore you might take the story about sealed indictments with a grain of salt. Let's take a look at Austin Steinbart's particular perspective on the matter. I put in search term Austin Steinbart sealed indictments. I'll go ahead and play a clip from this particular show.
Think that before the election, we're going to start to see some more of this come to the surface, or we're going to start to see some of these big arrests of these big names, or do you think we're going to have to wait longer for that?
Well, it's really so there's a couple things I'll say about that. One is the first thing I'll say is that like the mass arrests in the sense of like hundreds of thousands. So there's these lists of like there's 170 some odd thousand indictments, and I think a lot of people are thinking that those are all for political leaders or for big time people, right? There's just going to be like this mass purge, and we're going to wrap all these people up. And what they don't realize is that many of those indictments, the majority of those, are for people who are already in jail. And what I mean.
So he goes on to explain that individuals who are already imprisoned will have the opportunity of having their convictions overturned if some of the bigger players in the judicial system are removed from power in the course of the storm. The sealed indictments are then important to re-indict the individuals in prison who will try to have the convictions overturned. The poster of the article that I previously mentioned noted that over time the Q research team changed the title of their headings for the spreadsheet for sealed indictments. It changed from sealed indictments to sealed cases. Notice this is for a later date of January 31st, 2019. By comparison, we have this August 31st end date where it's still called sealed indictments. In ratio and proportion, the author sums up the situation where it's stated there are 100,000 sealed cases. There should really be about 2,500 sealed indictments. Where we claim that there are 50,000 sealed indictments, there are really 50,000 sealed proceedings, some of which may contain indictments. The Q research team posted a page of their methodology for searching the PACER website. I'll go ahead and click on it. Here's that page. So it states to go to pacer.gov and log in to basically select search, to go to U.S. District Courts, to go to Document Filing System, to click on Reports, to click on Criminal Cases, to keep all defaults except for search, dates, and run report. So this is very significant. You see the different settings for the selections for case types, case flags, and office. Each of these are set to blue or default. But for case types, the middle one, there are different defaults. There's criminal, criminal miscellaneous, grand jury, LA motions to disqualify, magistrate judge, RV motions to disqualify, SA motions to disqualify, tickets. The author goes ahead and gives examples of cases over a particular period of time in an individual state to determine if there is a gradual increase in sealed indictments as would be seen with the storm. We have a window of comparison of October 30th, 2015 to July 31st, 2016. It's noted that there are 836 sealed proceedings. I clicked through on that, and looking at this particular screenshot, you see the total number of cases is 836. You look at the methodology, you see case types is set to all, you see case flags is set to sealed. You go to case report for 10/30/2017 through 7/31/2018. This is in the window of time of the storm, noting that there are 1,065 sealed proceedings. See if there's that number. And here are the settings. Case type is all, case flags is sealed. I'll now choose the middle date. This is starting October 30th, 2016 to July 31st, 2017. For this particular window of time, there's 1,199. That's actually more cases than for the succeeding period of time, which was during the window everyone became excited about the storm, October 31st, 2017 and going forwards. This is using the search methodology of the Q research team, with case types being left at default, so that way it's going to be all. I tried to link through for other examples, including California and DC, but discovered that a lot of the pages were expired. The researcher who wrote this article looked at other states and found a similar pattern of no significant change over time. Here you have Alaska in 2015, it's 107. In 2017, it's 135. So bottom line, just so that there is no confusion, there are a number of different types of sealed cases. There are sealed criminal cases, sealed magistrate cases, sealed district court miscellaneous cases. Of these subtypes of cases, we are interested in sealed criminal cases. From the standpoint of sealed criminal cases, for that particular study we looked at from 2006, we found the number 1,077. This number was quoted by the Q research team as being representative of sealed indictments, but we looked at the original study and saw that that number is in fact much lower, being only 284. When you see the results showing thousands of cases in a given region, what you're actually seeing is a pooling of sealed criminal cases. Remember, keep all defaults except for search dates and run report. Now, if you've really been paying attention and you're a stickler for the facts, you may have come across some assertions I've made which may seem confusing. The research report from 2006 subdivided cases into 3 different categories: sealed criminal, sealed magistrate judge, and sealed miscellaneous. The Q research team PDF specifically asks for you to click on criminal cases in step 5 prior to setting the defaults to open criteria, all inclusive. The PACER website works by subdividing civil cases from criminal cases. When you get to step 6 and you have the case types, you're given these options of subtypes under the step 5 heading of criminal. Some of these subtypes include magistrate judge and criminal miscellaneous. Going back to the page from the research article, sealed magistrate judge cases I interpret to be a comparison to magistrate judge subtype under step 5 criminal heading. Likewise, criminal miscellaneous would fit under sealed district court miscellaneous. So if you're following me, by making those specific inferences that magistrate judge here represents magistrate judge cases here, by following step 6 and leaving in the defaults, you're left with a situation where cases beyond the criminal category are also included, which include magistrate judge and miscellaneous. This would then artificially drive up the total number of apparent sealed cases, making it indeed appear as though there is a storm of hidden indictments. Because I am forced to make a few mild assumptions on my part, I still can't say with certainty the criminal category, specifically sealed criminal, did not blow up over the last 3 years. Detractors may argue that there is a subcategory under sealed criminal known as criminal magistrate judge that is separate from this category of magistrate judge from the research article. This is just a consequence of a lack of clarity in the PACER website. But using logical deduction and noting that for the year there was claimed to be 1,077 sealed indictments that really represented a broader category of cases, of which there are only 284 sealed indictments, it is easy to logically infer that the PACER website does not delineate the specific cases that are actual sealed indictments. Just that alone calls into serious question the notion of 50K sealed indictments over the course of the first year, starting November 2017. I invite someone to check my work and point out where I may have erred. There was much that I left unsaid from W. Murthon's article. You can read the whole thing for a firmer grasp of the struggles the Q team that did research for the sealed indictments went through. Cobra Info now assumes misinformation on the Q board as a result of reading that article. Many followers of the Anons are the patriots, those stated patriots who are in control. Sit back and enjoy the show. Q post dated March 3rd, 2019. Why have there been no arrests? Why have specific dates been mentioned only to see no action? Define game theory. Why must disinformation be provided? Define open source. Define public view. Do we let our enemies walk through the front door? Define plausible deniability. Why was it important to first clean house with the FBI and DOJ? Why was it important to first clean house within other ABC agencies? Now, in the particular mythos of the Patriots concerning Q, the biggest aim and dream of the Q Patriots is for there to one day be mass arrests and justice. But here in this particular post, Q asked, why have there been no arrests? Why must disinformation be provided? Here Q admits to using disinformation within the Q drops. If Q and Austin Steinbart are indeed one of the same, we have to assume that Austin would use disinformation in his younger form, just as the older version Q does. You then may ask, if it's unclear what on the Q board or what from Austin is a truth, is it then wise to be complacent as the board suggests? My answer to that question is no. Our current crises begs us to continue self-development. Given that disinformation must occur for the plan to succeed, instead of relying on the Q board, it is more wise to simply watch it develop and evolve as you're planning, waking up others, perfecting yourself and fighting the injustices in the way you know how. There are many types of injustice of which we've been reminded of through the Q boards. It is quite easy to see what the boards emphasize, but the power to change the world lies within you. There may be a deus ex machina military force to save the day secretly, but you may not have any verification of that through these boards.